Hello, and welcome to this Wineally tutorial video for restaurants. Today we're going to be covering how to register your wines in the Wineally business system. To reach the section, click on the main menu and select Register Wines. This is a vital component of your usage of the Wineally business system, as registering wines is essentially how you connect them to your own account. This enables wines to be matched in the Wine Matcher and be used in all other parts of the system. In many cases, the wine you wish to register already exists in the Wineally database of over 700,000 wines, in which case the process will be very fast and easy. But even if the wine is not yet in the database, there are only a few steps involved. So now, let's go through the process of registering a wine that already exists in the Wineally database. You won't know for sure whether it's in there to begin with, but when you enter data into the search fields, the wine will not appear unless it already exists in the database. Start by clicking the producer field at the top here and entering the name of the wine's producer. You'll notice that as soon as I start typing, the system gives me suggestions for producers, and once I see the one I'm looking for, I can just click on it and it has been selected. The wine field is now accessible, and this works in the same way as the previous field. I click on it, and available wines from that producer appear straight away, so I can start typing the name of the wine to filter the list, and then once I see the wine that I'm looking for, I just select it like so. Next, you will need to fill in the vintage and bottle size fields, which are likely to have much smaller lists, so you will often be able to just click on the field and select the option that applies. You will also notice that when you have selected a wine, the vintage and bottle size fields will be filled in automatically. The system will select the most recent vintage and the default bottle size. If this is the one you wish to register, then you can leave these fields as they are. The next step is to fill in the wine's various prices, which will be used throughout the Wineally business system to give you accurate financial information. The purchase price is the price you buy the wine for from your supplier, which will only be visible to you and your internal users with a high enough access level. The restaurant price is the price you sell the wine for to guests in the restaurant. Price per glass is the price a guest will pay in the restaurant for a single glass of the wine, but this only applies if you have chosen yes on the served by glass selection box. If that wine is not sold by glass in your restaurant, you should leave this field as it is. The takeaway price is the price a guest will pay for a takeaway bottle of the wine, but this only applies if you have chosen yes on the sold for takeaway selection box. If that wine is not sold by takeaway in your restaurant, you should leave this field as it is. If selling wine for takeaway is legal in the country and region you are in, offering the wine at a lower price for takeaway than in the restaurant can be a very effective sales strategy. The bottles and storage location fields are used to track how many bottles of that wine you have in stock currently and where they are stored. The storage location field is optional, so if you only have a single storage location for your wines, then you can leave this blank. If you have multiple storage locations, then this field will be very important for managing your restaurant's wine inventory, and will help your serving staff know where to find the wine when taking orders from guests. The final field here under Wine Supplier allows you to connect the wine you are registering to the supplier you purchase it from. Having this connection allows you to automate your wine ordering process so that when you place a wine order using Wineally, it goes to the correct supplier. Begin by clicking on the field and searching for the supplier's name by typing the first few letters. The supplier should be visible here provided you have added their details via the suppliers section of Wineally. If you have not added them in the suppliers section, or are currently unsure of who you buy the wine from, you can temporarily select Unknown Supplier from the drop-down. But once you have that information, you should edit the wine via My Wine Seller section and update the field. Once you have entered this information, it's time to complete the process by clicking on the Add Wine button, which, if you have filled out all the information, should now be read and clickable. With that done, the wine has been successfully registered, and the process is the same if you have additional wines or vintages that you wish to register. If you only need to register wines that already exist within the Wineally database, that's all the steps you need to know, as the rest of this tutorial concerns wines not already in the database. As I mentioned earlier, Wineally has built an extensive database of wines from all over the world, but it is a very complex world of wines, so it can happen that a wine you wish to register is not already known to the database. If this is the case, there are a couple of extra steps you will need to take to register your wine. If the producer of the wine you are registering does not appear in the search results here in the producer field, you will need to add them manually. This is done by clicking on the red plus button next to the producer field. We then get a pop-up saying Add New Producer, and just need to enter the name of the producer and hit Save. Because this producer is new to the Wineally business system, none of their wines will be in the database yet, so you'll need to click the red plus next to the wine field as well to add a new wine. If the producer already exists in Wineally, but the specific wine does not, this is the same method you would use in that situation to add a new wine. After clicking the plus button, you will need to enter the name of this new wine and hit Save. You'll notice the vintage and bottle size fields are automatically filled with the current year and default bottle size. If you wish to add a non-vintage wine, a different year's vintage, or a different bottle size, simply click the red plus button for the associated field and make your selection to fill the field with accurate data. Once all 4 initial fields are correct, it's time to add the detailed information for this new wine. Country, region, and sub-region are drop-down menus that document exactly where the wine comes from. You should make your selections in that order, as not all countries have separate wine regions, and not all regions have separate sub-regions. The grapes field allows you to make multiple selections from the drop-down menu, so you can select multiple grapes or a grape blend as appropriate, starting with the most dominant flavor. The drink from and drink to fields require you to enter in the years that constitute the wine's drinking window from start to finish. If you don't have access to this information already, your supplier can probably provide it. The color field is a drop-down, requiring you to choose between white, orange, rosé, and red, whereas the type field will require you to determine whether the wine is still, sparkling, or fortified. The classification and designation fields only apply to particular wines, but if you have this information, you should select using these fields. Next up, we have the style drop-down, and you just need to select whether the wine is dry, off-dry, or sweet. Flavor of oak is another drop-down menu, and you will need to select the amount of oak flavor present in the wine from within the range of options, from none to high. The following step presents you with a series of checkboxes displaying whether the wine is biodynamic, organic, vegan, or natural wine. If you have access to this information, you should choose yes or no, but if not, just select unknown for these options. They are important for when people make use of the wine matcher, which has filters for these types of wine. Having incorrect information here could lead to wines being filtered out or presented inaccurately in the wine matcher. The alcohol field is used to determine the wine's alcohol content as a percentage of volume. So if your wine is 12% alcohol, then simply enter 12. The sugar field is expressed in grams per liter, and this should be entered in if you have that information. You will then need to select a value for the wine's body from the body drop-down menu, ranging from light to full. The serving temperature field expresses values in degrees Celsius, so select from the drop-down menu to represent the ideal serving temperature of that wine. You can then add a wine label image for your wine by clicking the Select a File button and then finding the appropriate file in your device. Please note that you must use a standard image format and a file no larger than 10 megabytes. The final steps, before clicking the Add Wine button and successfully registering your new wine, are to fill in the wine's price, sales particulars, location, quantity, and supplier, just as you would for a wine that was already present in the Wineally database. Once you click the Add Wine button, the wine will be sent to the Wineally Wine Data team for confirmation. You will receive a confirmation email stating whether the wine has been approved or not, usually within 24 hours. That concludes this Wineally tutorial video for restaurants. Thank you for watching, and we hope you have a great day.